A weak man challenges a ruler. A wounded farmer walks into a fight he should not survive. And by the end of Vikings Season 1 Episode 6, Ragnar Lothbrok does not just kill Earl Haraldson. He inherits his throne, his enemies, and the curse of leadership. Because this episode is not really about a duel. It is about the moment Ragnar learns that power is never free. The same people who cheer for you today can betray you tomorrow. The same brother who swears loyalty can secretly feel humiliated. And the same enemy you defeat can still shape the kind of leader you become. So let's break down Vikings, Season 1, Episode 6, Burial of the Dead, and why Ragnar's victory is much darker than it looks. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are breaking down one of the most important early episodes of Vikings, Season 1, Episode 6, Burial of the Dead. This is the episode where Ragnar's rebellion finally becomes political reality. Before this, Ragnar was a dreamer, a raider, and a threat. But after this episode, he becomes something far more dangerous, a ruler. And that changes everything, because when Ragnar becomes Earl, he's no longer fighting from the outside. Now he is inside the system. Now people depend on him. Now every decision becomes a test. Floki delivers Ragnar's challenge to Earl Haraldson.
Ragnar Lothbrok challenges you to meet him in single combat.
Earl Haraldson says, Ragnar Lothbrok has a very high opinion of himself. Floki replies, well, he is descended from Odin. This opening tells us everything about Ragnar's psychology. Ragnar does not attack Haraldson with an army. He does not sneak into his hall. He does not beg for support. He challenges him publicly because Ragnar understands something very important about Viking power. Reputation is stronger than fear. Haraldson is already the ruler, but his authority is cracked. He has tortured Rollo. He has tried to control Ragnar. He has used fear to protect his position. But fear only works when people believe you are still strong. Ragnar's challenge forces Haraldson into a trap. If Haraldson refuses, he looks weak. If he accepts, he risks death. This is why Ragnar's move is not just brave. It is strategic. Floki's role is also important. He does not deliver the message like a normal messenger. He turns it into theatre. His words make Ragnar sound almost mythical, almost chosen by the gods. That is how legends begin. Not only through actions, but through the way people talk about those actions.
There would be greater shame in accepting a challenge from a criminal.
Haraldson deciding whether to accept Ragnar's challenge. Haraldson's first instinct is to reject Ragnar. He calls him a criminal because that is how rulers protect themselves from rebels. They do not call them rivals. They do not call them challengers. They call them criminals. Why? Because if Ragnar is a rival, then his challenge has honour. But if Ragnar is a criminal, then Haraldson does not have to treat him as equal. This is political language. Haraldson is trying to control the meaning of the conflict. He wants the people to see Ragnar as disorder, not destiny. But deep down, Haraldson knows the truth. Ragnar is not just a criminal. Ragnar is the future. He has ships. He has followers. He has the courage to sail west. He has the one thing Haraldson no longer has, imagination. And that terrifies Haraldson, because old power does not fear strength only, it fears new ideas. Haraldson's tragedy is that he knows Ragnar is dangerous, but he cannot stop him without proving Ragnar right. Ragnar prepares while still wounded Ragnar, moving with pain before the duel. Ragnar enters this fight at a disadvantage. He is wounded, he's not at full strength. Physically, he should wait, but psychologically he cannot. That is the hidden pressure of leadership. Sometimes the perfect moment never comes. Sometimes you either move while bleeding, or you lose the chance forever. Ragnar knows that Haraldsson's fear is fresh. Rollo's torture has created anger. The people are watching, the moment is alive. If Ragnar waits too long, the fire dies. This is why Ragnar accepts danger before he is ready. He understands the momentum. But there is also a darker layer here. Ragnar is proving that he is willing to suffer for power, and in the Viking world, pain is a language everyone understands. A healthy man challenging an old earl is ambition. A wounded man challenging him is destiny. Ragnar turns weakness into myth. Ragnar and Haraldson facing each other before combat. The duel is not just a fight between two men. It is the old world fighting the new world. Haraldson represents control, suspicion, and fear of change. Ragnar represents risk, exploration, and hunger for something beyond the known world. But the episode does something clever. It does not make Haraldson look useless. He is still dangerous, he's still experienced. Ragnar is wounded, so the fight feels uncertain. That makes the duel psychologically stronger. Haraldson is not defeated because he is weak. He is defeated because his time is over. That is what makes this scene powerful. Ragnar is not simply killing a villain. He is replacing a system. And when Ragnar finally wins, the victory feels heavy. There is no childish celebration. There is blood, silence, and the uncomfortable truth that leadership begins with death. Ragnar wanted freedom. But by killing Haraldson, he steps into the same seat that once tried to destroy him. That is the irony. The rebel becomes the ruler. After Haraldsson's death, Siggy accepts the new reality.
Hail, Earl Ragnar!
Siggy is one of the most interesting figures in this episode. She loses her husband, her position, and her security in one brutal moment. But she does not collapse. She adapts. That is her survival instinct. Siggy understands power better than most people around her. She knows that grief is private, but politics is public. If she openly resists Ragnar, she may lose everything. So instead of fighting the new order, she bends toward it. This is not weakness, it is calculation. Siggy's pain is real, but she also knows that in this world, mourning too loudly can become dangerous. Her husband is dead. Ragnar is alive. The hall will follow the man who controls the future, not the woman attached to the past. This is why Siggy's silence is powerful. She is watching, she is measuring, she's already thinking about how to survive under Ragnar's rule. In Vikings, survival often looks like loyalty, but sometimes it is only patience. When Rollo swears loyalty to Ragnar, Rollo asks Ragnar, "How will we ever be equal now?" This is one of the most important emotional moments in the episode. Rollo swears loyalty, but his heart is not at peace. When he asks Ragnar how they will ever be equal now, he reveals the wound that will define him for much of the series. Rollo does love Ragnar, but love does not erase envy. Ragnar's rise humiliates him because it turns their brotherhood into a hierarchy. Before, they were brothers standing side by side. Now Ragnar is Earl and Rollo is beneath him. That difference poisons Rollo's pride. Ragnar may see the embrace as brotherhood, but Rollo feels the weight of comparison. And comparison is dangerous, because a man can survive poverty, pain, and war, but many men cannot survive feeling smaller than their own brother. That is why this moment matters. Ragnar has won the title, but he has also created a deeper emotional enemy without even trying. Rollo's betrayal does not begin with hatred, it begins with humiliation. Athelstan watches Viking funeral preparations. Athelstan asks why Ragnar gives Haraldson such a funeral. Ragnar says he was a good man and deserves one. Athelstan gives the audience an outsider's eyes. For Ragnar, Haraldson deserves a great funeral because he was an earl, a warrior, and a man of status. For Athelstan, the ritual is disturbing, confusing, and morally shocking. This is where the episode becomes more than a political story. It becomes a clash of worlds. Athelstan sees death through Christian fear in judgment. Ragnar sees death through Viking honour and passage into the next world. Neither man is only watching a funeral, they are watching each other's beliefs. Ragnar's respect for Haraldson is also important. He killed him, but he does not erase him. This shows the complexity of Ragnar's mind. He can destroy a man and still honour him. That is not mercy, that is leadership. Because Ragnar knows the people are watching. If he humiliates Haraldson after death, he looks petty. But if he honours him, Ragnar looks strong, mature and worthy of command. Power is not only about defeating enemies, it is about deciding what their defeat means. Athelstan watching the servant prepare to die with Haraldson. The funeral is the darkest part of the episode. It is beautiful, brutal and terrifying at the same time. The servant who agrees to die for Haraldson shows Athelstan the full weight of Viking belief. To the Vikings, death is not only an ending, it is a journey. Status continues beyond the grave. Loyalty does not stop at the body. But for Athelstan, this is almost impossible to understand. He is not just afraid of violence, he is afraid of belief itself. Because belief can make people accept things that outsiders see as horror. This is what makes Vikings powerful as a show. It does not present culture as decoration. It shows culture as psychology. These people live differently because they believe differently. Their courage, their cruelty, their loyalty, and their politics all come from the same spiritual foundation. And Ragnar understands that foundation deeply. He gives Haraldson a funeral, not only because Haraldson deserves it, but because Ragnar must show that he respects the rules of the world he now leads. He's not destroying Viking tradition, he's taking command of it. People swear loyalty to Ragnar. The people entering the hall and recognising Ragnar's authority. By the end of the episode, Ragnar has what he wanted. But the mood does not feel simple. It does not feel like a happy ending. It feels like the beginning of a burden. That is because Ragnar's dream has changed. At first he wanted to sail west. He wanted discovery. He wanted glory. But now he has people, land, politics, enemies, expectations. The crown does not free him, it traps him. This is the hidden meaning of episode 6. Ragnar's rise is not the end of the struggle. It is the start of a bigger one. When he was a farmer, he could dream. When he was a raider, he could risk. But as Earl, every dream becomes policy. Every risk affects other people. Every mistake creates consequences. Ragnar has defeated Haraldson, but he has inherited Haraldsson's problem. How do you hold power without becoming controlled by it? Episode 6 is one of the most important turning points in Ragnar Lothbrok's journey, because this is the episode where Ragnar stops being only a rebel and becomes a ruler. He defeats Earl Haraldson, but the victory is not clean. It creates new tensions. Siggy begins adapting. Rollo begins feeling smaller. Athelstan becomes more disturbed by Viking belief. And Ragnar steps into a world where every decision will be judged. The genius of this episode is that he understands power psychologically. Power does not simply reward Ragnar. It isolates him. It separates him from Rollo. It forces him to respect Haraldson, even after killing him. It makes him responsible for a people who now expect greatness from him. And that is why the title, Burial of the Dead, works on more than one level. Yes, Haraldson is buried, but the old Ragnar is buried too. The farmer who challenged the world is gone. Now begins Ragnar the Earl. And with that title comes glory, danger, betrayal, and the slow transformation of a man who wanted freedom into a man surrounded by power. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to the channel for more dark character psychology from Vikings. Comment below and tell me, did Ragnar truly deserve to become Earl? Or did Haraldson understand the danger of Ragnar better than anyone? Also suggest the next scene, character or episode you want me to break down. And make sure to watch the next video, because Ragnar's rise is only the beginning. The real cost of power comes later.